So there's a Christian apologist out there by the name of MrBatman. And if you can't tell from the name, you can certainly look at his channel icon and see that his name is at least to some degree inspired by, or he's otherwise using branding like DC's Batman character as part of his, symbology, we could say, for his identity. This is a website which used to have a lot more blatant content on there, a lot more obvious references to the Batman character, and that seems to have changed recently, and sadly the Internet Archive doesn't have archives of this. It's been excluded, so what we have is what we have, but of course he's still using a classic Batman-esque logo for himself, as we see here. And I've always found this weird. Now, I have a hobbyist interest in copyright and trademark law and the logic surrounding it. And I would consider a nuanced view on things, at least somewhat educated, far better than, half the people you see on YouTube or on Twitter or something rambling on about it. But I'm certainly no expert. But that being said, I know that stuff like this begins to cross the line between parody and being outright trademark, violation, rights violations. If he was, I did this analogy in my stream last night that if it was a character called Catman and you themed everything around like Batman-esque stuff, it would be parody and that'd be fine. But this always kind of irked me as just seeming to ape the Batman identity. And I always wondered, what was the deal with it? I figure, oh, you must be a fan of Batman, but, this is a little bit much. I ended up just randomly deciding to look at the channel. I think a video got suggested that he happened to talk in, so he was mentioned, like, I think it was maybe AJ discussing something with him as it was a suggested video. And I'm like, let me look at MrBatman, see if there's anything, any meat on that bone to follow. And it turns out he did a video a month ago on answering the question, how did you become MrBatman? So I thought we'd take a look at that and just see where it goes.
Well, the reason why Batman, and specifically MrBatman, is because I just fell in love with the bats. I used to go to Eastern Kentucky every summer, and my uncle had a coal truck business, and he would have some equipment.
I just want to point out that buzzing is on his end. It's nothing on my end. There's just something picking up some errant noise. Is what it is.
Out, and people would suck the diesel fuel out of it, so he put a single spot or street light out there. Well, of course, that brought every bug in the world, and it also brought the bats. And I used to love to watch those bats fly, so I fell in love with bats and wanted to study the bats.
Bats are fucking awesome. So I totally get that. Let's see where he takes this.
And then when the Batman TV show with Adam West came out, I fell in love with the bat symbol. I liked the show, don't get me wrong, but the symbol itself, I loved anything with the bat symbol on it.
Okay, I can understand that too. We're beginning to definitely paint a picture of things. And I knew, given that I knew he was an older gentleman, I knew it had to have something to do with the 60s Batman series, given that obviously being a big resurgence in the overall popularity and honestly a big push towards the more prevalent recognition in pop culture of Batman as a character. But also the particular stylism of the Batman logo was the 60s-esque version. At least that's what I saw in it.
So as I grew older, I was always wearing something Batman related. Batman t-shirt, Batman earrings, Batman hat, you name it. I've got Batman shoes. So I started working for the school system.
All right, so you really like Batman. At least the symbology more so than necessarily the show. I can get behind that.
As a special needs bus driver and bus driving aide. And so the kids, because they heard all the other adults, my nickname has always been for 50, well not 50 years, probably about 35, 40 years, has been Batman. And so...
Funny. I went to school with someone we called Batman. Completely unrelated. We just happened to call him Batman as well. I don't know why. I do not know why that was his nickname honestly through the tail end of high school, but that was his nickname.
It's been longer than that. Anyway,
Reminds me, we had this guy in my electronics class called Stoner, who we're pretty sure had never been anywhere near any narcotic in his entire life. He was just a weird dude. And he got the nickname Stoner. I don't remember what his real name was. Kind of sucks. I would love to get in touch with him, see how he's doing. He and I both played guitar, so it was something we were definitely friends, bonded over. He brought in a BC Rich Warlock and was all like, "Yeah, this guitar's awesome." And I'm thinking to myself, well, I mean, this thing's kind of cool. It looks cool, but how the hell do you hold it? We were sitting. It was weird. I can't reminisce about high school. Emotionally shucked. Let's get back to Batman.
So the kids started hearing the other adults call me Batman. And so they started calling me Batman. And I said, oh, no, 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 you can't do that. You have to call me either Mr. Barber, which is my last name, or Mr. Batman. And they started calling me Mr. Batman. And it just stuck.
Okay. Okay. This all totally works. So far, so good.
And like I said, that was about 15, 20 years ago. Well, not that long, about 15 years ago, 10, 15. I have no concept of time. My brain is shattered.
Oh, I'll be nice here and not crack any jokes about your theistic views. But that's just kind of funny. But I can relate sometimes to just totally losing track of time.
Well, I just went through 44 radiation treatments and a whole bunch of hormone therapy to get rid of prostate cancer. And, it's so funny because, well, I tell you what, God has used this amazingly so.
But it was all science that's helped you survive. You just want to arbitrarily assign it to a deity when it's people, standing on the shoulders of the giants before them, taking advantage of the incredible discipline that science and the incredible applications of the scientific method that we've done to help you out. And you just want to chalk it up to what amounts to an imaginary friend. I'm glad you're healthy, but I wish you'd give the credit where it's really due.
Not only has he shown me a number of different cool things, but he allowed me to share his gospel with 17 different doctors on my cancer team. Yes, I had a cancer team. Not just the doctors, there was like 3 or 4 of them, but
well, I'm trying to be nice here, but that is an incredibly privileged position to be in, to have a whole group to assist with your cancer. Other people out there get cancer, and they might not be in such a socioeconomic class to be able to get such assistance, and they're just down for the count. Which shows how incredibly fucked up just the Western world is in that regard of health, especially the United States.
there was nurses and attendants and all the other people that run the machinery. Everybody, I talked to them. I loved it. And when it was all said and done, I went through my 44th treatment, because this is why they couldn't understand how I made it so far. Because they thought I was going to have more radiation or some kind of chemo or maybe even a prostatectomy, because my numbers were whacked. I mean, they were way up there. And so the whole time after I did the initial test, you wait for 90 days and then you come back and they do more tests to see if you got to have anything else happen. And they were fully knowing that I had to have more stuff, because those numbers were too high to go away with just one batch, no matter if it was 44. And so after I did all the testing, the doctor comes in that last day and says, well, I guess there's just nothing left for us to do to you. And I said, oh crap, am I going to die? And he says, well, your numbers aren't better. Your numbers aren't good. Your numbers are perfect. And we don't know why.
Okay, that was well delivered. Just because something like with the effects of chemotherapy and the like are less likely to happen doesn't mean it can't happen, doesn't mean it can't, for whatever combination of factors, be an even greater success. And people always forget personal willpower. You seem like a strong-willed individual who certainly wouldn't give up when diagnosed with such. It just doesn't, from just this little bit of watching you, and this is the first time me getting to actually see your face and see you emote, to have a, face attached to the voice. You seem strong-willed enough that that would help you a lot. And I'm glad that you were able to harness that willpower and fight things as you clearly did. Um, don't underestimate the ability of that combined with, particular just random factors to cause, chemo treatments and such to actually perform better than they might have otherwise. It's going to vary by case basis.
He said, there's nothing left for us to do to you. Have a nice day. And I said, I know why, Doc, because it's the God that I serve and he's got work for me to do. Thank
If the deity cared that much about you, you wouldn't have gotten cancer to begin with, though. And I promise I'm not trying to be hostile here or attack. But the logic is just fundamentally flawed. It's like stop hitting yourself, a bully making someone punch themselves. Your deity allows you to get the cancer, has you have to go through all that, and then they decide I'm going to keep you around. What sense does that make? What kind of good action is that? Am I going to starve one of my cats and then decide no, I'm going to keep it around? And so once I feed it, it's suddenly like, ooh, Daddy gave me food. He loves me. When I was the same one denying it food? That's horrible. And to me, that's no different than allowing you to have gotten cancer and then sparing you from the end result because of reasons. It doesn't make sense. And also at this stage, you've completely stopped telling the Batman story, which is fine. This is your video. It's a short little video. You can trail off if you want. I've enjoyed this. Let's finish up real quick though, and then I'll have my parting thoughts.
you very much. And you know what? I'm in complete remission. And they said that they really thought that I was going to be going through more processes. But here I am. And I'm in great health. I can't complain about a thing. I do all the time. That's the human nature. But God has been so good. He's blessed my socks off. Whew. Thank you for asking, sir.
Well, that really did become a story about your cancer following half the story of the Batman stuff, but that was interesting to hear. Um, it's still, we're going to focus on the Batman thing. It still doesn't make using that logo and that naming in the way you do necessarily right from a look at intellectual property rights. Um, and I am a bit of a stickler for this stuff more than a lot of people on the internet are. But I see that as pushing the line. It's not really here nor there, and it's certainly not my place to make any judgment calls on it per se. That's DC's thing to do, and honestly, I feel like the website might have been changed as a side effect of that. DC might have been like, "Hey, can you tone it down?" Um, but yeah, you could have come up with something different, but still reminiscent enough to make people realize that not that the name wouldn't be a dead giveaway that you are inspired by the Batman character. Um, but it is what it is. Let me tell you, the cancer thing really changed how I approach this video. I think I said everything I need to on the cancer thing. And really, my previous opinion of you has not been very good, but that's just you coming from a discussion of theology or lack thereof and your nature of apologetics. You seem like a decent enough person here, and I don't think most anyone ever deserves cancer. So, certainly, nowhere close to finding any joy in having that. You could be my worst enemy, and I'd still, feel upset about that fact. And you and I have never interacted, so I don't know. Just kind of brought the whole mood down. But I'm glad you're doing better. I may or may not, depending on how I see fit, go after some of your content, do my reactions. Um, that's irrespective of you as a person. You know, you're not Kent Hovind. You're not Matt Powell. You're just Mr. Batman. And so I'll treat you as you deserve to be treated, which is far better than the likes of Powell, Hovind, and others of that ilk. That's all. Thanks to my viewers for watching. Take it easy, everyone.